Welcome back to AFTV, welcome back to another live show, and welcome back to Talking Transfers. It is me, Turkish, Curtis, and Robbie back again to talk about... Not a lot, guys. I'm joking. There's lots to talk about because the Euros have been happening, and we're going to give some names of players that we think Arsenal should be keeping an eye on, especially after round one of the Euros. Of course, Germany kick off at 5 p.m. Kai Havertz will be back in action, and all the news around the Euros, Arsenal and everything, we'll be covering here on AFTV, including a preview for the England game where we discuss Declan Rice and more. Just a quick update on the transfer, because there is a little bit. Kivior's been linked with a move away. There were links to Onana and Xavi Simons. Simons?
That's a whole bit.
Is it?
You say it twice every day, don't you?
Yeah.
When I do my show, I say both, right? So that if they can't cook me, I've got one right.
Yeah.
I think it's Simons, you know.
Simons. Oh, I think you might be right, you know.
I think it's Simons.
Comments, let us know,
I think you might be
please.
right.
Please let us know. But 50 million for both potentially, with Onana, of course, the PSR issues affecting Everton, and Xavi Simons apparently looking like a loan deal might be possible, with PSG not wanting to pay a fee to PSV if they sell him for January 2025. So we'll talk about those players. But before we do, I want to ask Mr. Transfers over here, both of you, your most shameless rumour covered in the last week. This is going to become a segment of every show. The most shameless rumour of the week. Curtis, we'll go with you first. Surely there's...
Who's I?
Because I will go through your channel if I have to.
Yeah, I know you will. That's the problem with you, isn't it?
What you slated me for last week?
And Nketiah to Barcelona.
No, the Koundé swap.
Yeah, that was a bit.
Yeah, that was Listen, it was a rumour, but you know it was
a report,
swapping Eddie Nketiah for Jules Koundé. Yeah. Was it Nketiah and
Partey, you said.
Partey for Jules Koundé?
I think the one I've done this week, I
happen.
don't think it's completely crazy. It was on about De Gea. De Gea to Arsenal on a free.
Way, really?
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, that was like level.
I didn't see that
level
one.
25. That was in the dark.
Did you find that?
That was in the dark depths of football transfer.
Who said that? I didn't saw
Someone
that.
said it. Someone in Spain. Said it. No,
Who said it?
I'll find it. I think the guy's got about 6 followers on Twitter.
Bloody John AFC.
With no picture, no followers.
Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
I've heard Arsenal looking at De Gea. We'll run with that.
I said, it's a quiet Monday. We'll take that.
That's the thing. You know, we were talking about it just before we come on. It's a really strange start to the window, because we know that Arsenal want to buy players. We know that Arsenal are going to sell players. That's going to happen. You know what I mean? And I actually think we could end up buying more players than we think because of the amount of players that are going to go out.
Yeah.
You know, those players. I mean, I did see a thing today where they're talking about how there'll be some of the youngsters from the academy promoted up, like at Enwanyari and people like that. But even with that, if they move all those players out that they're talking about, they have to be replaced. So I think Arsenal are going to do quite a lot of business. But when? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, will it be after sort of, you know, because I was thinking to myself, will it be after the sort of first round of the Euros when a lot of teams go out? But then are those the sort of players, they're not the top players, are they? Then, well, not the majority of them. Or will it be at the end of the Euros? But then we're into July then. I mean, it's a... And then there's Copa America as well. So it's a weird window.
It's a weird window. And I remember last summer, because I know I made the joke about the shameless transfer rumours, but sometimes, not always, but sometimes, more often than not, it's no smoke without fire. And I remember when, I think it was Chelsea fan Alex Goldberg, is his name?
Yeah.
I think Alex Goldberg put out the Kai Havertz Arsenal thing.
Yeah.
And I remember immediately it was dismissed by most.
Everybody.
I mean, I can admit, I dismissed it. I was just like, come on. Yeah. A day or two later, David Ornstein comes out with it. So sometimes it's worth just talking about what's being said, because you just never know. It's not always going to be the high-profile journalists that are getting hold of the information. Why? Because they're the high-profile journalists that everyone's going to believe. So sometimes you want, I'd imagine as a club, there's certain things you don't always want getting out there. And Arsenal are operating very quietly right now, Turkish. Like, we really don't know what they're up to because we see so many conflicting reports.
Yeah, everyone's like that, but obviously I'm an Arsenal fan. Arsenal's all I care about. But the fact that everyone is kind of slow in this window leads me to believe that all the action's going to come I'm with Robbie. I think after the round of 16, because there's still a lot of teams that are going to be left in it with this new format, third place finishes going through. After the round of 16, maybe first week of July, I expect to start seeing something. I expect to probably see outgoings before incomings, but we should have our targets set regardless of what happens at the Euros. Even if a Euro prospect comes out of nowhere, cool, that's nice. But I'm sure what we've learned from Mikel so far is he's got a plan.
Yeah.
And I don't think a plan's going to get diverted by anyone at the Euros. Maybe it'll be an addition to something, but it won't get diverted. So I'm hoping we know what we're doing, we know who we're... Actually, the more we kind of fade away from the Sesko stuff, the less I believe it. Because I just feel like, how over a 2-week period was he linked to Arsenal, Chelsea, United, then signed a new contract? It just doesn't seem... the agent work is the right word I'd use for it, because I feel like there was no real solid links. I feel like it was just for that contract. And if there was, then Arsenal, Chelsea, United, one of us at least, would still be active, no?
I get what you mean.
But I just feel like everything's been dead in the water. There's been literally nothing.
Yeah.
Although, the one thing I also say is that Arsenal, over the past couple of seasons, you got to add it to, man, like, they've got a good secrecy going on around their deals. Because like you said, not one of these so-called expert journalists had Havertz. It was, like you said, it was Alex
Goldberg.
Alex Goldberg who broke it. Nobody.
No, the Chelsea guy.
Yeah, nobody had that. Right. Declan Rice, most of those journalists will say we weren't going to get him. The City, remember when City came in?
Yeah.
Oh, they all assumed that was it. It was dead. When, to be fair, I remember hearing right at the start of the window that it's already done. Declan Rice is going. I remember when I was even talking about it on my show, people were slating me. They were going, "Oh yeah, see you always trying to be." I said, "Yeah, I'm just telling you what I heard. That he's already agreed. It doesn't matter about no City. He's going. He's coming." Nobody had those transfers. Arsenal have been pretty good at that recently, in recent times, where
Timber was out of nowhere, do you remember?
Timber was out of nowhere as well, you're
I
right.
was watching the In-Betweeners movie on like a Wednesday night, just chilling, at 10:30. And then suddenly my phone just goes, David Ornstein, Arsenal made a 30 million bid for Jurien Timber.
You're right, James, out of the blue.
Remember Fabio Vieira was that one?
Vieira was out of the blue.
I don't know this guy.
Nobody was on that. They got some good secrecy going on.
Dropping transfers out
Kivior,
of nowhere. Kivior,
yeah.
Trossard last minute, Romano just went out of nowhere.
David Raya was kind of out of nowhere.
True.
Yeah, that was.
No one knew he was looking for a keeper.
True. So they got some like good secrecy going on here.
Drop a signing on us out of nowhere.
They're in some bunker somewhere.
Edwin, and then barbecue and that, you know.
Maybe if we just stay live longer. Let's just
Time will break.
Yeah, let's just stay on stream and we'll see. But this came through The Athletic, saying that with forwards Havertz, Jesus, and Nketiah, Trossard all currently part of the squad, strengthening midfield is seemingly now the primary focus. Now, I did a little bit of calculating. I looked at the July calendar to see when the Euros round of 16 quarters semis were being played. I looked at our players at Copa America as well to see how far I expect them to go. And I've made what I think is a sensible prediction for the midfielders and forwards that are going to be available during pre-season. Now, in terms of midfield, unless injuries or sales, Partey, Ødegaard, Smith Rowe, Vieira, and maybe Jorginho if Italy have an early exit, because they could, the way everything's shaped up. They will be the midfielders available for pre-season. In terms of forwards, Gabriel Jesus, Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson, and maybe Leandro Trossard with the way Belgium have started. The forwards list looks a bit worse, if you don't mind me saying. And that tells me that maybe, when you look at the fixtures that came out, we want everyone up to speed for Villa, Tottenham City away, all by mid-September. I don't know, it makes me feel like the forward should be the priority.
I don't think... Listen, if you're selling Nketiah and Reece Nelson, they can't go on the tour. Suppose they go on that tour and they get injured.
Balogun went on tour though, didn't he?
He did, but...
We sold him.
He did, but I don't think...
It's risky.
It's very risky. Remember on, who got injured on that tour last year? It was actually, no, we played United and it was actually... what's the name? Martinez got injured. He's fouling one of our players. It's a dangerous game to, if you've got a guy like an Nketiah that you could potentially get 30 million for, do you want him going on you really want him gone before that, don't you? You want to sell him.
But if you don't
Same with Reece Nelson.
Tell clubs that he's available and drive the price down. Like it's one of those.
They already know he's available. And if there's a lot of clubs, which there is, in both of those players, there's a few clubs interested. So,
I hope so.
we need to get that striker in early, man. That striker or that midfield, we need to get them in early.
So who's a priority for you? Because like I said, like looking at that list of players available for pre-season, I'd much rather think, okay, we can go into next season with Ødegaard, Partey and one of Vieira, Smith Rowe. Maybe we add a midfielder.
Partey could be sold as well, though.
Partey could be sold, but I look at the forwards, man. Martinelli, Havertz and Saka, basically our starting front three, I think will all go far at their tournaments.
Yeah.
And so are they going to be fully... Well, are they going to be ready to start on the opening day? Probably not, if their teams do go that far. And then are they going to be up to speed and ready for Villa away, which is literally the second week? I think a forward is still the priority for us.
Do you know what? Every time Havertz did something in that Germany game, I thought, we're getting further away from a striker here. You know, when he scored, I thought, oh man, we're not signing no one. Because the thing to me, I look at, I think, if Havertz is our number one striker and then Jesus is your backup striker, that's two high-profile players that cost a lot of money. He bought both of them. That's over £100 million. Trossard can play up there as well. So I actually am not sure whether we're going to go big on a striker. I think we should, but I feel that maybe the strikers that they like, Isak and Osimhen and them guys are just too expensive.
What about forward in general, though?
No, I definitely think we need one.
I think they will.
Maybe a winger.
Yeah.
You know, there's two rumours, right? There's two rumours for forwards that I do think has legs, right? I do think the Osimhen thing has legs, but I'm with you in that. Are Arsenal going to pay the sort of money that is required to get Osimhen away? Because I know there's these rumours that they're going to put in a bid for 60 odd million. I don't see absolutely no way are Napoli going to go for that. Because I was looking at it this morning, I did it on my transfer show, Transfer Daily this morning, that they didn't pay peanuts for this guy. They paid nearly, I think, it's around about 60 million they paid for him. Yeah. And also, apparently, there's some sort of sell-on clause with Lille. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So, so they're not really, it's not like they bought a player for 10 million. Yeah, yeah. And now you're going to sell him even at 65 million, you've made a big profit. Yeah, all right, he bought him a title and stuff, but they're not going to, I can't see that. I can't see them letting him go for anything under about 85, 90 million. And if they do let him go, that would be, and it was cheaper than that, that's what a saga that runs right till the end of the window then. You're not going to get him in early, right? So that's a problem. And the other one that I think's got legs is that Nico Williams one, the one, the Athletic Bilbao player. Yeah. I got a feeling that Arsenal might go for him. He's got that release clause. I know he's been saying he doesn't really want to leave and stuff like that. He's a quality player with a release clause. That release clause of about 40 odd million.
Is it really that low?
42 million, I think.
Talking about wage demands. Is that a load of nonsense? Or
he's on big wages apparently.
Yeah, but he's not going to be on bigger wages than what he's offered his Arsenal player. I can. That's one I can see.
Do you rate him? I don't particularly.
I was watching him quite closely for Spain the other day.
He's good, man. He looks decent.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's talent there. I don't know. I'm not blown away.
It is raw.
Yeah,
it's very raw, man.
Guys, I got to say, I was doing some research on Kudus, and I'm just still convinced. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying.
Kudus.
I think he's.
That's your one, innit? You're going to keep banging that drum about Kudus.
Well, really.
On Kudus, right? And I heard this. Right.
Here he goes, exclusive. Here we go.
Come on.
Here we go, we got one.
No, it's not that he's going to leave. I heard this from a good source, right? I can't say who it is, right?
Yeah.
But this source is...
Good one.
Good. I'll tell you lot after. Might not tell you, because you go and spit it on right? And he said to me, right, that Kudus definitely has a release clause.
Yeah.
Right? That is how West Ham were able to get him, because of this release clause. So I don't know. You know, with release clauses, sometimes they come active after a while.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are. I don't know how much it is, but apparently he has some sort of release. And to me, Arsenal should be whatever that is. They need to explore what that is, man. Because I'm with you. He'd be top class for us.
I was surprised by how little he cost to get in the first place.
And that's what I mean. It didn't cost a lot. And a lot of times when those players don't cost a lot, they have something in there that says, listen, if we progress and we get, we want to be able to.
Sorry, Manny's he heard it from Nicky from West Ham.
If Nicky knew, he probably wouldn't tell me.
Yeah, he would. That's it. Honestly, Nicky wouldn't say it. Yeah. No, he probably would, bless him. Go subscribe to West Ham Fan TV, everyone. Yeah, and I tell you what, maybe a release clause is what we need for that player, because I do not want to get into a back and forth with West Ham fans again. Bless them. Yeah. And do you know what? They were right. when we were saying, come on, 100 million, how are you saying no? They were absolutely right, we should have paid more. Yeah. All right, look, we're going to talk more about Nico Williams and some of the players of the year in a sec. I just want to ask you about a couple more other links and rumours and reports, so just give our thoughts on what we think. On that report in The Athletic, do you think the midfield has become the priority for Arsenal now, or do you think it is just still a juggling act? We're just seeing what's going on. What would you prioritise? Forward, as in anyone in the front line, or a midfielder?
Forward.
Forward, yeah, for me too. Good.
Yeah, forward for me.
Sort it out.
Either.
No, both.
I should get it done.
The priority this summer. Plug the holes, win the league. Yeah, no hole should be left unplugged. So I don't want to pick out a forward and midfield. We need both. We need both. And like this athletic nonsense, it annoys me, because if there's any truth to it, if there's any truth to it, that's how can you just back down from?
You're right.
Last year we bought 2 midfielders, and I'm not denying that we don't need one now. We do, because one of the midfielders we bought is actually a better forward. But for years we've needed a striker. When Jesus came in, we knew he wasn't the striker, but we thought, all right, it's an improvement on the position. Yeah. At the end of the day, we haven't bought that player in yet. Everything's grown through over the years. That the one player in attack that is a bagsman, is the one that we can rely on, is the one that we take the risk with. Yeah. I'm not picking that over a midfielder. I'm not picking a midfielder over that. We need both.
I wonder if that would have changed the perception on Havertz. Like when we signed him, if he had just come out, we're signing him to be a striker, and he played most of the season up front, I wonder whether that would have changed perception. I sort of feel like the reason, I can only speak for myself, the reason I still hold back a little bit on my praise of Havertz as a signing is because I can't get past the fact he was signed to play in midfield at first. Like everyone's reported that. He was seen as a left 8, he was in the squad as a midfielder, he was playing in midfield for half the season. If he'd come in to be a striker and, the reports were Arteta sees something in him as a striker that Chelsea haven't seen, then I don't know, I feel like maybe we'd have reflected on it a little bit differently. Now we've all warmed massively because of how well he did in the running up front, but that wasn't the intention at first. Yeah. I don't know, it feels like a happy accident, but it's not an accident because obviously they bought the player, spent a lot of money, and they saw his talent. But do you guys get what I'm trying to say with this?
Yeah. The other thing, sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say the other thing, right? If he has a good Euros, like who said that? You said that.
Yeah.
It's true, Like suppose he's like bangs in like 5 goals in these Euros. It might be like they look on it and think they don't need a striker. Look, we've got one of the top strikers already in Europe. But to me, Havertz not an out-and-out striker anyway. Yeah. He can play as a forward, definitely, but he's not that out-and-out killer.
Yeah. He complements more so than he is the man.
I think when you look at like Liverpool when they were successful, Firmino was more of a link striker, but they had 2 wingers that were just ruthless, weren't they, in Mane and Salah?
That's where their 20 goals come from.
They were getting 20 goals each from the 2 wingers, and I just think Havertz can score goals. I just wonder is he clinical enough? Will he score in the biggest moments? We're competing with City and Haaland. Haaland got 27 league goals and he wasn't even fit the whole season, so that's the level you're up against.
But then how much did the wide players get?
Yeah, City's wide players didn't score that many.
Really score many
Foden,
goals.
but he played kind of in the 10.
Foden was more in the 10.
Yeah.
Grealish didn't really score any goals. Doku scored a few. I'm not sure how many, but he didn't score. It wasn't prolific, was he?
No,
and on the other side,
maybe Bernardo was playing.
So the focus was more on that actually out-and-out striker.
Yeah.
It depends how the system that Arsenal are going to deploy. I still, though, would love to see an out-and-out striker. I just think the fear it sends into teams, if you see Arsenal line up with Osimhen, Saka, Martinelli, you're thinking, well, we better be on it today or we're in trouble. And then you've got Havertz who can come in there. And, if we're going to, I think we need that out-and-out striker. And he's the only one I can really think of that's available right now that is that killer. I can't think of anybody else really. The strikers, these Xerxes and people. If that is what it's going to be, I then understand with Arsenal sticking with Havertz and maybe then going for a wide player because Xerxes not better than Havertz, is he?
Not really. From what
So
we've seen.
you know what I mean? You know, unless you're getting someone better. And the only person I can think of right now at the moment that's better, that's available, is Osimhen. It's that obvious one. I don't know if you guys.
I'm telling you, I know I spoke about it last week. That Ivan Toney one as the weeks go on.
Well, Ivan Toney.
I'm telling you.
Really? Yeah.
Because you look at that striker market, Isak's basically off the table and it's not going to happen. Osimhen, I don't think we're going to, unless we can negotiate late or something. And then you start looking down, you think for 40, 50 million, that's a guy that's going to... I still
feel like we need... He's not scary though, if you know what I mean.
But do we need scary?
I feel like we do. I don't think we have any attacker that's scary.
I agree with that.
I think Declan Rice, scary as a midfielder in his position. You're not coming up against many better. I think Saliba, scary. Yeah. Again, same as in attack. I don't think we have any. The closest to is Saka, scary. But I don't think he's scary.
I think he's scary. I think if you're a defender, you don't want to come up against him, right? So he's scary. And I agree with you. Like a striker now, just like Haaland's scary, isn't it? So you're thinking, oh my God.
Yeah, Salah, scary.
One chance they score.
Aguero, scary. Henry, scary. Rooney, scary. Aguero.
Osimhen's the only one I can think of who would come into that category. Like, you know, you don't be scared of some of these others.
No.
I think that factor comes into it.
There's not many of those players, is there? That's the problem.
Osimhen probably would be the one
closest
available.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about two other players that I mentioned, Onana and Xavi Simons. Start with Onana, 50 million, deal or no deal?
No deal.
Curtis?
Yeah, I'm not overly hyped by it. You know, I don't think he's that good on the ball. Like, no, I'll say no deal.
Robbie?
Deal.
For 50
I
million.
like it, man. Declan Rice and Nana with Odegaard in front. Man, that's all right. I don't mind that, man. He's a bit of an enforcer. He could probably play both sort of positions as well, couldn't he? Holding or be that guy sort of rampaging forward. He's very young. He's very imposing. He had a great game against, remember we played the man, he looked good. I'd have him, yeah. I mean, I think he's going to become a better player as well.
Yeah.
Let's get a poll. Let's get a poll going. 50 million Onana, yes or no? That's the question. I'd love to know what people think.
Who do you want instead?
I can't lie, Frenkie de Jong is still the one, but I know he's injured now. But a midfielder of that profile more than a defensive one, because I just think...
I agree.
Listen, we was great in attack as well last season. We scored, 90 plus goals, something like that. But defence, the XG since 2024 and so on, we've seen how good we are as a unit. But I feel like at times what we've lacked in the midfield is a bit of a buzz from defence to attack, a bit of that, I don't know, creativity, someone like a Frankie de Jong that can pick. Because Rice has moved between the lines with the ball, but he does look awkward doing it because that's not really him. He's good at it, and he's shown that this season. But I think if we can get a better player doing that, whether it's an 8 or whether it's a 10 and moving Odegaard to the 8, that would be my preference.
He kind of reminds me a little bit of Nana. It gives me sort of Camavinga settings. The way he plays, just commanding there, young, gets around everywhere, all over. I wouldn't mind Onana. I'm telling you, I think that'd be a good
I wouldn't be
signing.
completely against it. I think the problem for me, I'm kind of with you. It's like, I think Rice, we have this argument, should we play him 6 or 8? And I just think last year he was unbelievable as a 6. So I'd rather get a midfielder that maybe gets forward a bit more and can create a little bit.
I think that's where I am, yeah.
So I would rather get a different profile of player.
Basically, Guimaraes is perfect if he didn't cost 100 million and didn't elbow Jorginho in the head.
Somebody like that, yeah.
You know what's surprising me? I'm surprising that Arsenal, unless it's already been said to them that, no chance, right, because they're a direct rival now. But Douglas Luiz, he looks like he's going to Juventus.
For peanuts as well.
And it's like some sort of swap deal with Weston McKennie coming the other way and things like that. And I'm just like, why Arsenal go in and try and put up like a 40-odd million, 45 million for him? Because I think he also would be brilliant, him and Rice. I'm surprised that I'm just like, especially the fact that they bid for him so many times before. Yeah. is it that they've already sort of been notified by Villa that, yeah, forget it, man, we're not dealing with you guys, because I guess they see us now as, you know, their competition.
Yeah, I mean, that's weird on that
But the thing is, we are in need in midfield, though, because realistically, if we have done this, gone through who we might see leaving Arsenal, who we want to see leave Arsenal, in the 8 and the 6, we're left with 2 players, no? Declan Rice and Jorginho. Partey, I think, will resign to, you know, having to sell this summer. El Nene's gone. Emil Smith-Rowe, again, we need to sell him. Who else is there in the mate and 6 positions aside from Rice and Jorginho that we know are here next year?
Yeah,
really,
so I was saying it right
now.
And we've got to buy players.
We need 2, yeah.
We need 2 at least.
I think if we bought 2, I could deal with Onana. Like, you've got him for that role, and then you get. But if we're buying 1.
And we need 2.
I think we need 2, especially if Partey goes.
That's why we need to get. We need to sort these Englishmen out now. The homegrown players, sell them. Let's get the pure profit in. No, but real talk.
Ruthless.
Yeah.
No, but it's time though. Eddie, time. Smith-Rowe, time.
The LM players.
Aaron Ramsey's not homegrown, so it's not pure profit. But Smith-Rowe, Eddie, and Nelson, that's 70 million of pure pro there. Just what are we waiting for? They're not at Euros. Let's sort it out.
The only thing is, you get rid of them, you might have to buy English players then.
No,
You've got to
our
have so
homegrown
many
players should
home-
still be all right.
You could promote. You could promote. As I
youngsters.
said today, what I was reading about the fact that they may promote some of these
Younger players
through into the first team. I'm with you on the others, man. The Smith-Rowe thing, I'm
It's sad, Rob. That's what it is. It's sad. That's why you're saying it's because you don't want to say it.
I'd love to give him 1 more year.
Diaby was sad. Cazorla was sad. Van P. We've had bigger, better players have gone through these moments, and we've had to move on. Emirates is sad.
Oh, where's your heart, man? Come on, man.
My heart, they've dragged it through the mud for 15 years. It's somewhere on the road somewhere.
He left it on the Turkey watch-along. After the Georgia game.
The best bit about that watch-along, he stood up and moved the camera up with him. He didn't just stand up, the camera was up, I was under the beard, like, I was like, yo, what's going on here?
Hey, I'll tell you what, sorry to segue, right? I'll tell you what, yeah? The left-back.
Cadiola, yeah.
I was impressed.
Very good, yeah, he played a very good game.
We've been linked with him, haven't we?
Hold on, I believe you, but I tuned into his watch-along about 25 minutes in, and I heard him go, I think Cadiola must have had a shot from about 40 yards, and he just went, and he just said,
bro,
you come Arsenal, and you do that, I'm sending you back
to Istanbul.
He just went off. He went absolutely.
Because, bruv, it's 1-1 and you're shooting from 45 yards.
And I sat there and I thought.
Can you not imagine this Champions League semi-final? It's 1-1 and someone our left back shoots from Zinchenko shoots from 45 yards. No.
He looked good though.
No, 100%. And after the first round of fixtures now, because there's the whole first round's done, him and Bruno Fernandes have created the most shot-creating actions. I don't know. I'll go to Statman for that, but most shot-creating actions.
I believe you.
Is Bruno Fernandes. What is that shot-creating action?
Yeah, basically anything they do that led to
chances
a shot.
created, kind of.
Yeah, it's more just led to a shot. So even if you pass it to someone who hits it from 35 yards, you've done something that led to a shot.
But him and Fernandes are the top 2.
I think anyway.
He looked good.
I was impressed.
Yeah, it's interesting because I like him, but I feel like we need a left-footed left back.
Yeah,
even though he is actually a left back that's right-footed.
I completely agree.
But surely that's timber. Do you get what I mean? And I want a Turkish guy in the team, but I'm thinking,
I agree with you.
do we need another left back that's right-footed?
Yeah. I love the way he rampaged forward though, man.
Yeah,
like he's got an engine on him. Like he looked good.
He's on it.
Yeah. What about Xavi Simons on loan? Is that a deal that we'd all...
100%.
100%.
Yeah, don't question.
I think I named him on that show we did. Remember when we was naming players?
Yeah, you did.
If you can get him on loan, he didn't actually play great in that Holland game.
He looked poor.
But they played him wide, and I think he's better centrally behind the striker.
What is he? Is he a 10 or is he a wide player?
So he can play as a 10 or as a right winger.
But
I think I've always seen him best in the 10, don't you?
Yeah. Remember against us in that PSV game, he ripped us up, didn't he?
But was he playing right wing that day?
I can't remember actually. I know Gakpo was on the left.
Can I be pedantic? I feel like as a central player or a central midfielder of some kind, I feel like he leans more into second striker, attacking midfielder more than he does a playmaker.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, like people who know him well, watching those, let me know. He strikes me someone wants to get the ball, run at players, commit players, not pull the strings of a midfielder. Maybe that allows you to get another guy
in a
deep.
different way. That's the thing.
You're right.
When we say
yeah.
playmaker, we want to see
combos,
or Fabregas type of, you know, in the I think he's a playmaker in a different sense because he's got energy. He gets the ball. He wants to move towards goal, whether that's a quick 1-2 or whether that's taking on a defender or two. I think that's something we lack as well.
We do.
And you are right, at times you seem like more of a second striker, but I've also seen him as a much more suited, like he's not like Fabio Vieira at all, but their physique and stuff is not too dissimilar. They're quite small, but Simons just knows how he's more confident. He's got the buzz, he's got the energy, whereas Vieira would be the more, I don't know, the more
pass, move, combos, through balls, that kind of way of dictating a game. I get what you're saying. I mean, a few people agree with you. Cedric Casaza says Xavi Simons is exactly what this team needs. Fits 110%. A few others agreeing as well. Jay agrees as and what you guys are all in on Xavi Simons on loan?
Yeah, on loan. The only thing I wonder because the rumours are PSG don't want to sell him, so would Arsenal take a player on loan if there was no option to buy at the end of it? So if he comes in, has a great season and PSG say, thanks a lot, we're taking him back.
If we win the league, does it go?
I agree with you on that, but would Arsenal?
I think Arsenal would do it, but the thing is, I look at it the other way around and I think, would PSG send him to Arsenal on loan? Because it's not guaranteed he's going to play every week. Yeah. And that's the thing. So if he's coming, especially if he's coming like a backup, he'd be almost like a backup to Odegaard or Saka, because if he can play those two positions, he's not going to start, is he? No. Now, if you've got a player like Simons, right, you want him to play every week if you're PSG, so that the value of the player goes up. So that, when you are ready to sell him, you can get because he's still very, very young. Yeah. And that's the sticking point, I think, they might look at it and think, no, send him on loan somewhere where he's going to start every week.
Probably more a question for him.
He started every week at Leipzig, didn't he? Started every week at PSV. He ain't starting every week at Arsenal.
David Dean's son is his agent as well, Darren Dean.
Oh. Yeah. Really?
He's a little Arsenal.
But he's agent to loads of players.
Of course.
I've met him before and I said, why don't you, give us that player, that player. Yeah. And he's like, Robbie, if the price is right, they'll come. So he's an agent, man. He's an Arsenal fan. Don't get me wrong, he's a big Arsenal fan. But he's an agent.
Have a word, Robbie, man.
All right, let's get the whiteboards out, people. We'll play a little game as we just go through the votes, the poll, the results. So, 50 million for Onana. It was very simple, yes or no. What do you think the percentages were, Robbie?
I think they were influenced by you guys, so they probably about 20% said yes.
Wow. This really surprised me because I would have guessed a similar thing. It's 50-50 down the middle. 50-50 for the £50 million deal.
I think it'd be a good signing, man. I really do. I think he's a guy that.
It's 51-49 now. Now you ruined it. It was perfect.
His ceiling's high, isn't it? We haven't even seen the best of him, man. I know a lot of people keep saying about, he's not good on the ball or stuff like that, but he's playing for Everton, man. No disrespect to Everton, they don't really. Ball doesn't even.
Sean Dyche ain't keeping the ball on the floor.
The ball don't even go through the midfield. Don't even see the ball.
No, they don't.
Can I give you a little
midfield? All the midfield does in Everton's team is defend, isn't it? I mean, you don't really get the ball. No one plays the ball to you. Pickford hits it over them. So
there's an info. I'm doing an info. I'm literally recording it after this. Come out later this week. An in focus on Amadou Onana, and I looked that up, like the rankings where Everton are for passing. They are 18th, 17th, 18th, 16th, like for attempted passes, completed passes, short pass completed, passes into final third. Like, they're not a team that are expected to hold the ball. So quite frankly, you're not in an environment where your numbers are going to look as great. Yeah. And the reason that's important to know is because one of the things we've all praised Kai Havertz for is his defensive work. But when you look at his defensive numbers on FBref compared to other attackers, they're not very good. Why? Because Arsenal have more of the ball and they're not attacking as much. When he does have to defend, he does it really well. So context and all these things matter. And that's why I think Onana, maybe an Arsenal team, would show more tech. Yeah.
By the way, you heard his accent. He's
I didn't even think that was real. I was like, what?
That's what I thought.
I got dubbed for a sec.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm not Andre, mate.
I'm not Andre. Ever do.
I'm not Andre, mate. You know what I mean?
And then went back to speaking French.
All right, so it's not as good as yet last week's game, which was a great game. I know you're all playing at home with your families. I just want you all to write down a list of players that you're impressed with. Don't have to be wingers, it could be any position. List of players, could be one or two, could be more if you've got players you're impressed with from Euro 2024 after round one. Round two is just kicked off. And
that we can buy, or
yeah, that you'd want Arsenal to look to buy. Yeah. In the meantime, let me just give you an update from Euro 2024. I know Croatia were playing.
Oh, they won,
and
didn't
they drew 2-2.
Oh, was that a draw?
Yep.
Oh,
Albania in the 95th minute equalised.
Well done, Albania.
Croatia were 1-0 down after 11 minutes. Kramaric and Jazula, hope I pronounced that right. Oh, Jazula with the own goal for Albania. Put Croatia 2-1 up, but Kajula, who scored the own goal, got the equaliser in the 95th minute. So there you go. I'm just talking, so you guys have time. In the meantime, let's go through some comments. What is everyone saying? 52 now.
Robbie's trying to copy my homework.
I'm not copying yours, right? I'm just thinking.
L-Bags is saying Curtis well behaved on AFTV. Well, why? What does this mean?
I don't know, mate. I mean, can't go crazy here, can I? Talking about transfers.
So.
Flipping out.
Imagine. Jux T says, bro, Onana's not polished at all. The one thing is the age prospect. He can be moulded. Nwaneri could be a good backup for Saka and Ødegaard, says Charles. Have you heard anything about whether you think Nwaneri is going to get some first team action?
Well, they're saying that he might get promoted up to the first team, so
cool.
Which would be great. I'd love to see him play more.
All right.
I'm trying to think this is hard, you know. Because
it's tough, isn't it? Because not that many players have played that well yet.
It's been a fantastic tournament so far.
Yeah, goals.
And then there's some players that have stood out to me, but I know they're not available.
Don't worry, we'll do this section next week as well to kill some time. It's all good.
I've got a few.
Manny asks, what about Dewsbury Hall? Anyone got thoughts? It's a no from me, but
nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Cool, fine, fair enough.
No, he's available on the cheap, but nope.
Okay, right. Should we go to you first, Curtis?
All right, I've got a few. So,
feel free to reveal.
Oh, you want me to reveal?
On,
I don't know if you could see this on the camera, but so I've got 4 names there.
Go on. So we've got.
I know a lot of people have written him off, but Pedro Neto last night.
Yeah.
You see the direct pace. It's very different to Saka, isn't he, as a winger?
Yeah.
I know people get scared. He only plays 20 games a season, but Saka's going to play the majority of the games, so he might only need to play 20 games a season. I would be looking at him.
All right, so let's do some hands up. Pedro Neto, would you sign him?
100%.
For 60 million, would you sign him?
No.
Yep. That's the
Just
going
no.
rate. That's the going rate.
You normally
nowadays,
say
bro.
whatever.
Yeah, but his injury record, 60 million now. He has to be now. 60 million for a guy that's
How much would you pay for him?
I need someone that's gonna 40 mil.
40 mil.
40 mil.
Nah, he ain't gonna go for that. He comes into that scary category for me, even though
I know what you mean.
I know that he's like late. You imagine like Saka comes off and you got to face him, or you got to face him because Saka's been rested. Nah, he'd be perfect, man.
All right, fair enough. Let's go through one more on your list. Who do you want to talk about next? We'll go through the rest in a bit. But
I'll go Frimpong. You know, I know we've seen a lot of him before. It's probably not realistic because we're quite strong. No, but you know what? The other day, I don't know if anyone else, when I watched that England game, I thought Saka looked different having a fullback that was very attacking. Walker was overlapping him, and Saka got that fullback 1v1 a lot of times. And I thought first off he was ripping that left back apart, set up a goal. It's not likely that we would sign a right back, but if we did, Frimpong, that release clause, do you know what I mean?
Gehi, man.
He played well in that game
I
as well.
want to talk about Gehi in this. We've been linked a lot over the last few years.
50 million they're saying for him from Palace, man.
50 million, is that
That's
all?
what they're saying, yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I thought they were going to ask for more.
No, 50.
And he's got the technique to play fullback for us if needed.
I like him, man.
I think
I like him.
He's 6 foot, so he's by no means short for a defender, but he's not a 6'3" for towering centre back in the same way maybe Gabriel is. But quick, good on the ball.
How old is he now? 24? Something like that? 24.
Maybe
23.
23, yeah.
Yeah, 23.
Man, I think he'd be a great option to add more depth to fullback and centre back.
Especially if you sold Kivio. You know, with all the rumours of Kivio, AC Milan, Juventus, if he went, perfect.
Kivio for Gay, I'd say that's an upgrade, to be honest.
All right, let's go, Robbie.
I didn't know how to write his name right, so Turkish can help me out.
Here we go.
He's the Turkish left back.
Right,
What's his name again?
Cadiolo.
Cadiolo.
Yeah.
Impressed, man. I know we've been linked with him,
Yeah.
and he looked good. Like box to box, good defending as well. And then when he got forward, he was a threat. Liked him. I like Williams, right? And then my vanity one is Havertz, man. He looks
I'd love.
baller, but yeah, I know I can't get him, but he impressed me in that first game, Havertz.
For me,
I mean,
if you're talking,
I was going to put Musiala, but there's no chance. Right?
He looked unreal.
He's Musiala and Bellingham. Those two players have stood out for me in the tournament so far. But as like, you can see they're game-changing players. But that Havertz as well, I was impressed with him.
if you're talking about shifting Erdegaard's role to a deeper one, Rice being a 6, and Havertz is the player I would do that for.
Yeah.
Like a player of his quality in the 10 who can be good in build-up final phase. Yeah, I'm no expert on him, but you'd have to watch a lot of him to know the kind of player. You see the quality. He's a league winner in Germany now, starting for Germany at the Euros. Big fan. And a player on your...
Same.
You've got very neat handwriting, bro.
He has got the Android, doesn't he?
I thought the list was going to be longer, so I started. I was going to, but then I just
Even
stopped.
your list is stubborn, innit? It's a typical Turkish list.
Yeah.
2 players.
Yeah.
He's used a tiny bit of
Can't give them
space.
too many options, you know.
No Turkish players on it. Look,
£250
Charles
million.
representing
I thought you was
Turkey for you.
gonna have
No
Turkish
Turkish players on it.
The only ones I would have put on there is Guardiola or Güler, but
What a goal,
Guardiola,
what a
I want a
goal
left-footed
from
left
Güler,
back,
man.
and Güler, I mean, Real have already said they want to keep him, so there's no chance. But
I want to
Musiala,
do like Gula on loan.
I think Real Madrid have pretty much said no chance. No, it's long. But Musiala, I know it's a dream, but listen, we didn't move into the Emirates not to dream. That was apparently the what they sold us. Yeah, compete with Bayern Munich in how many years? It's probably been double what they said it would be. But now we're finally here. We spent 100 on Rice. We're challenging for league titles. All right, people will laugh now at this because we haven't won anything. But maybe a Premier League trophy, then people will stop laughing. But at the same time, that shouldn't stop our club acting like the big club we are. We don't need the trophy to act like the big club we are and do what a big club does. And I think when you look at world football now, we need to take advantage of the position we're currently in, which is on the cusp of being a great team and winning stuff, because there's not many ahead of us in world football at this moment in time. And in my life supporting an Arsenal fan, we're probably in one of the better positions, including those great teams that won, because even then times during the Invincibles and 98, there were still 6, 7 great European sides. Now there's only 3 great European sides competing at the top, and you might even say 2 with Real and City. So I think Arsenal, biggest players. When I said Mbappe last year, I wasn't joking. I know it's a dream. I wasn't joking. Try. Musiala, try. Havertz, try. Havertz is obviously probably more attainable, but I'm not about to start putting up-and-comers on here or prospects, because it's about time we start doing this. If they can fucking sign the best player in the NFL or the best player in the NBA for their American franchises, then I'm sorry, I can ask for Musiala or Mbappe. Try.
Is Musiala supposedly in a little bit of a contract?
Yeah.
He hasn't signed.
What's the word?
Contract negotiations at the moment,
Yeah,
because
basically.
his contract is starting to come towards the end. So, but it would be a lot of dough, man. That's 100 million plus.
And a lot of suitors. A lot of
everybody.
Pep likes him as
But
well.
what we've done here is, because over the years, I said United ruined the transfer market with some of their signings. Then Chelsea have now added to it recently. I'm not saying we have, but what I'm saying is, once you make a move, then that move becomes the standard. Yeah. If we can spend 100 on Rice, then if the quote is 150 for Musiala, then the type of player he is, the position he plays, and historically attacking players that make the difference go for more, then as a club, we've already said one of the best number 10s in the world is 150 mil, because we've spent 100 on 6. That's how I see it.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I'm going to throw some other players to you all then. We talked about Mark Gehi. Xavi Simons talked about... Okay, Jan Bakayoko, the Belgian winger, who was at PSV as well.
Yeah.
PSV wingers have done well against us over the last few years.
Liked him, looked pacey.
Quick, yeah.
Wouldn't be as expensive as some of the others we mentioned. I think he'd be a good option.
Yeah.
What about Kvaratskhelia?
He's a diving... I don't know.
I'm a fan now.
He's still angry from the game yesterday, isn't he?
No, I was watching your watch along.
No, we don't want no dive. Actually, no. Put the bias
He gets
aside
us
from
a penalty,
yesterday.
though.
Quality,
He looks
man.
good. He looks good. I can't
He's
lie.
quality,
He was
man,
close
like-
yesterday, but in terms of competition for Martinelli and someone that can overtake,
There were
I'm
moments
really-
though where he just had a burst of pace. He runs like Grealish a little bit, you know. that
I'm
sort of
really
like-
interested to see how much he's going to be, what they'd want for him, and because the thing is, I think he's going, because
he wants
his
that,
agents
doesn't he?
come out, said he wants to. Well, I guess he didn't say it, because he actually's come out and said, listen, I'm just concentrating on the Euros, blah blah blah. But his agent come out and says, want a new club for him. His dad just come out and says he wants to leave, wants a new club. So now they've destabilised it already.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I don't think they want to sell him, but I think he could go this summer. And how much, I don't know. He'd be a lot of money because he's still a young player. But I think he's absolute quality. But he'd be a lot of money.
Yeah.
Happily this season, they got a lot of decisions to make, innit?
Yeah, finished like 8th.
Yeah, but they've got Antonio Conte in charge now as well.
Yeah.
You know, he's no nonsense. He might just be like, yo, get rid of them, man. Just give me the money and I'll go and get who I want.
Rebuild,
What about Nico Williams? I know you mentioned him.
Yeah, I'd have him.
But yeah, would you want to play that him?
Yeah, I think there's a big risk element, but I think there's a big risk element with a lot of players on the market. But I think he's someone that he's interesting, man. I think he's exciting for sure. Yeah. Will he be able to handle the Premier League? Maybe, yeah. It looks like he has got the attributes for it, but I'm not sold 100% to say if the option is there, go get him. Yeah. It's just something. Yeah. Kvaratskhelia for me, I'd prefer.
Yeah, I think though sometimes when you're thinking about players bringing in, especially when you've got a top player in that position, is how do you bring in a player like you've got Saka there, right? He's the main guy, and has been for the past few seasons. If you bring in Kvaratskhelia, then what? Like, are you rocking it up too much, or do you bring in a Nico Williams who's like that potential, who will definitely push Saka, and also gives him a chance to sort of grow into the side rather than the pressures on him right from the beginning? So is that a more sensible signing than going and getting? Because you've got a superstar already in that position. You know what I mean? That's the thing, isn't it? But
that's one of the reasons why Kudus is so high up on my list, because he's not just a Saka backup. He's just a quality player at your forward line. If Havertz isn't in form, he can lead the line for, like he did for Ajax for a season. He can lead the line up front. You can play him on the left, where he got a lot of his best assists for West Ham off that left-hand side. And okay, if Saka needs a rest, you need to mix things up. At least teams aren't going into games going, oh, well, we know we're facing Saka, so let's prep for that. You might have to prep for something different. Yeah. So I actually understand that signing a Saka backup is really difficult to do. Who do you find that is not quite as good as Saka, but is still very, very good, that is around 50 million, that's happy to sit on the bench? Yeah. But that's very difficult
That's Nico Williams, isn't it? Because Kvaratskhelia is not going to be 50 million. It's going to be way more than that. And you're going to be under pressure to play that guy every week. It's just like if you was Liverpool, you can't buy us back up to Salah. But Williams, he's your main guy, and if you bring in a guy that's like genuinely now is going to proper dislodge him, he'd probably say, "Well, I want to go."
Well, Williams
so that's the conundrum. Sorry,
Williams
he can play on the left as well.
He started there. By the way, how good did Yamal look?
That's the dream.
16 years old. Are you kidding me?
It's crazy.
Mad.
But that assist, he got a very similar assist, I think, in the build-up to the tournament. I think in a friendly.
He got a similar assist.
It's unreal.
There's some mad little young players around at the moment.
There's a good wave, isn't there?
You have like 16, 17-year-old players that are ready.
Football needed it. Football needed it.
It's crazy.
All right, well, look, I've asked about those players. Any others that have popped in your head just very quickly before we sort of start to wrap things up from the Euros, or anyone you're looking forward to seeing? We know Kai Havertz kicking off in 12 minutes with Germany.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game in particular, because Germany look good.
Yeah, they do look good.
Home team as well.
It looks good, but the only thing is, Scottish fans, please, leave it alone. Don't take this the wrong way. They were dreadful, man. Yeah. So I do want to see him up against a better
opposition.
See what they're like.
I think for me, I was excited to see Saliba playing. I think he deserved that.
That was great to see him starting.
I thought it'd be him and Konate actually, but
that's what I thought.
Notice they had it. Did you notice he was playing on the right, on the left side of the centre backs, which is not really his position. Yeah. So
I think people shouldn't underestimate how not difficult but awkward that shift can be. Like your
angles and everything.
And you played there all season in that position, and then now you've been shifted.
Yeah.
Maybe when you're driving on one side of the road and you go abroad and you have to get used to the other. I don't know. You know how to drive a car, but it's not. It does take a second of adjustment. Maybe a terrible analogy.
Did I say this one? Did I say this one last week? Right. I'm not sure if I did. Would you guys take Rafael Varane as a backup?
You did last week.
I did say it last week.
So what we're saying? De Gea, Varane.
We're taking all your Rashford.
Not De Gea.
Casemiro for 10 and Rashford.
I'll take Varane. If the wages weren't a mad,
I'll take it.
There's a few players. Hummels has just been released as well.
I think he's got a club though.
Yeah.
I think
Roma
I
are
saw,
talking to him. Yeah.
I think we saw Real Mallorca talking to him as well. Like,
but he was man of the match in the semi-final.
Yeah, some of them. I mean, they're managed like not playing week in week out. I think Varane
as a backup to Saliba, Gabriel.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing.
He's talking to Inter Miami.
The free deal, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
And I want to live that life now, man. You know what I mean?
Comments. They voted, and it was 51% yes for Onana, 50 million. So the AFTV community is slightly leaning towards doing the deal for Onana for what it's worth. I have my doubts over how much we're in for him, but there's an opportunity there, and Arsenal have liked him for many years. Super chat from KD, who we did meet at the airport a few years back on tour, says, Robbie, we need to change the mindset around whether if Saka is... Wait. We need to change the mindset of Saka. Is there he won't get into the 11 around if... Sorry, I'm trying to word it slightly wrong. Around whether he will get into the 11. If someone comes and performs well and replaces Saka, then that's what we need to do. That's what City do, play according to form.
There's a thing called, when you've got your very best players, I don't care what anyone says, there's a balance to be had. As I said, if you got a player like a Salah, even a Haaland at the moment, say at City, he's the number one. So if you bring in a guy now that's like the same level as him, not that there is, but say Harry Kane was available, and they went out and bought Harry Kane, right? And now they're saying, right, it's just a battle between you two. You're both literally on the same level for that position. Mm-hmm. That can destabilise a player. He says, you know what, actually, man, I want to play. I don't want to be I'm the number one here. I'm ready to go, man. Yeah, the offers coming from Barcelona, Real. I'm off. And that's a balance you have to strike. Yeah. I know in these other players where you can say, right, I'm going to bring in an equal guy on you and think, but, you know, when there's certain superstar players or certain players that they consider themselves that I'm the guy, and you bring in a guy equal to that can have a destabilising effect.
Do you think the argument could be that Saka hasn't done enough to be given like that status yet? Like I think he's done a lot, but I think as
Arsenal players go right now in that team, he has, because he's the main guy. Like to me, last season, even though there were sometimes people saying it weren't, you know, they were shit, but look at his numbers and the season before. He's consistently good in what he does. So, and you know that if he became available, there'd be loads of clubs. Just like we'd love to have Musiala, there's loads of clubs who'd love to have Saka just the same way. Yeah. So you got to be slightly careful with players like that. You know what I mean? Even Odegaard, if you know he's established himself now. Odegaard's now, I saw his value the other day. He's worth about 100 million. You bring in a guy now that's like direct. You're the guy. The two of you battling it out. Again, players like that might start to think, hey, well, you know what?
Super chat from Abdullah says, I think Jesus is the perfect fit as Saka's number 2. He's too injury prone to start and he is better on the wing. I think we should splash out big on a left winger to compete with Gabby, Kai and Trossard to be our false nines. I quite like that plan. I'm not going to lie. I like the idea of getting a left winger, competes with Gabriel Martinelli, Jesus and Saka on the right, Havertz and Trossard as our sort of false nine striker options. You've got someone like Jesus can play down the middle, maybe the left winger can play up front as well. So I don't mind adding, if they're a quality forward, I don't mind doing that.
Sounds too light though.
What, numbers wise or quality wise?
What, Trossard and Havertz up front again?
Just another quality forward.
Yeah, unless that left winger is gone, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I want a centre forward, man. I want a centre forward. You know, games like West Ham last year where if we would have took our chances, win them games in the first half and things like that. I still remember those games. We need a killer. We need a guy up front. That's what I mean. We might not be able to get it, and if we can't get as I said, I don't want us to go and get like no sub-quality guy. You know what I mean? If we can't get it, fair enough. But if there's a way in which you could get like somebody like an Osimhen, Isak, as you guys are always saying, would have been perfect. Them type of players, man, in this Arsenal side.
I think there's two left wingers we can buy that I would think, okay, for the attack. not to say they're 30 because they've been up and down, but I think Kvaratskhelia and Leao are the two. If we was to buy one of those two, I'd be like, okay, because I expect more goals to come from Havertz up top then, and more fluid transition, a bit more scary of an attacker in terms of pace and dribbling ability. Now I know Leao's coming off the back of not a great season and not a great game the other day for Portugal, or yesterday, but I'm just talking about, we've seen Kvaratskhelia and Leao and their heights. If we was to get one of those two, expecting those heights to return or continue, then I'd understand not buying a striker or a right winger. Rashford, no way.
His heights, you know, you said
He's
Leao's coming off
Leao.
of a bad season, right? So is Rashford, but the season before, what he did was way more than Leao's ever done.
The thing about Rashford is 27 now. He's gone up, down, up, down, up, down. In his 7-8 year professional career, he's had 2 good seasons. Whereas with Kvaratskhelia and Leao, it may be when they're 27, we look back and say they've had 2 good seasons, maybe. But the whole
Kvaratskhelia didn't have a great season last year either.
No, he didn't. That's what I'm saying. So
he had 1 good season.
Yeah, 1, but we might look back when he's 27 and say he's only had 2 like Rashford. But right now, because Leao and Kvaratskhelia are younger, there's more hope that they're still hungry.
Rashford, Premier League ready?
Ready, mentally? Has he showed he's ready for Premier League?
I don't know. You know what? I've warmed to the...
Yo, I seen your clips, man. He changed his mind. I like it.
Too much, bro.
I was against
I
it,
agree with him.
I was against it, but I'm
you
warming
know
to
me,
it.
I'll take Rashford, man.
Oh, yeah,
I'll take it.
I'm in that.
You take it?
Yeah, all day,
I'm warming
bro.
to it,
Goal
man.
scorer. Pace.
I keep hearing rumours about it as well.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I'm warm.
Bro, Leao's like 100 million plus release clause, you know.
No.
All right.
No way.
I was just sorry, the Albania equaliser just popped up on Twitter. We need to go watch those highlights. And Germany are going to kick off in 4 minutes or so. But as always, here on AFTV, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest that's happening in the world of transfers and in the world of Arsenal. Of course, our players are playing throughout the week at the Euros as well, so keep an eye on all that. Big thanks to Curtis, big thanks to Robbie, big thanks to Turkish, and we will see you all. Big thanks to all of you voting, sending your comments, sending your thoughts. Adds to the show, and we always enjoy interacting with you all as well. Look out for everything because, yes, Arsenal are kicking the ball, but there's still so much happening here on AFT, so make sure you're a part of it all, including playback, right, Robbie? When are you next on that?
Playback, I think tomorrow. I'll let everybody know the time. All you got to do is sign up to playback. So if we'll put it in the description, sign up, then you get a notification. But I'm going to be doing a Transfer Daily Extra on there where you guys get a chance to come and
you dropped a little exclusive on the last one. I did see that.
What was that?
I think it was some insight around Rashford, maybe. No?
Oh,
maybe?
I can't even remember. You know, I was so sick that day. I ain't gonna lie. I was dying that day, man. I did that one for you guys, man, because I was. That was on Sunday. I was
Finished.
Everyone go sign up to Playback, free to do, and you can hear Robbie on Transfer Daily Extra, and there'll be more to come as well. Big thanks, everyone. Go enjoy the Euros and whatever else you're doing with your Wednesday. Is it Wednesday?
Wednesday, I know.
With your Wednesday. God, the week flies. See you all very soon.